Record room software.
Welcome everybody to a special vlog here showcasing the disaster update for the MCG StarCraft plugin. I'm here in my testing world. As you can see, there are a lot of rockets to test with. Anyways, I wanted to give a short preview of what's coming to the next update as well. In this case, you might notice and see the different buildings. This building over here is a design made by one of my customers. He is using the little space station, which is gonna be a POI in space. So basically to say that I have already implemented some code into the release. This is not usable yet, but it will soon be able to generate these types of buildings inside the world that you generate in space, but also on other planets as well. It uses a special data format that's gonna be implemented, well, the data format. So basically, you can use the MCG Space plugin to generate a data file which contains your build exactly as it is in a format that's readable by the same plugin. So it generates it to the root folder of your plugin, and then when you want to use it, just drag it and drop it into the POI folder. Load on the server. So once you use a POI mode on the plugin, which is on by default, I recommend not changing a lot of settings. I will adjust and tune the plugin to generate just the correct amount of POIs, so it does not break your server. These things can be found, or these things in space, but there are also some buildings which has a notification that is a ground item. Basically, this is a floating plate, and this floating plate contains a communications station. As you can see, there is a chest in here, and there are also chests in these types of buildings. In this case, you can see two barrels on the background. I will make sure that there will be loot findable inside these buildings. Well, that's enough for the next update. Let's go to this update where we currently are. A lot of things have been fixed. For example, the mobs that spawn in space, not this guy over here, but the mobs that will spawn in space will now wear suits again. Due to the last update that implemented the galaxy control, many of the modules that I use for radiation, temperature control, air systems, as well as the mob spawn controller were a little bit nasty and broken, because they are looking for values in the main configuration when it was on the other file. That's a messy mistake of my end, so I fixed them directly as soon as I found out that the mistake was made. Thanks also again to Grandma23, if I know out of my head. He reported most of these so-called problems. Then the leaf decay was broken when I adjusted the worlds. Found out that the world data that I was sending over from class to class broke in the way from class to class. That way the leaf decay wasn't working. So if I now go to space TP organic, where I've enabled the decay protection, you can see that no leaves are decaying now. The only thing that happens is the bamboo growing, but the leaves will stay intact now. So you now have normal trees, although some have the nasty habit of flying around. Well, I'm sorry, I have tried to fix it like 20 times now. But because of the bamboo and such growing, once it generates, it tries to put it down, but if it hits something, it stops putting it down. And since everything is growing at the same time, it can occur that things start flying instead of on the ground like this one. So many times it does it on the ground, but there are some occasions where something spawns underneath, like a mushroom or well, something else. Anyways, the leaf decay is active on this world. The world settings file has been adjusted, so I recommend upgrading the file, basically removing it and letting it regenerate, and then add your own worlds again, and then start the server again so it knows who or what to do. The default configuration is, by the way, also findable on the wiki, although I recommend you to let it just generate from the plugin itself, because the wiki is not always directly up to date after an update. So I try to do it, but I do not always have the time. Anyways, the leaf decay can be turned on or off per world. And the mobs that spawn in the worlds is also now disableable. So you can turn off, for example, zombie spawns in this world or in another world. And you can choose whenever creepers spawn or whenever other mobs spawn like skeletons, endermans. You can make a list of what you do not want. For that we use the entity type list. You can find more information on the web on what entity types are available in your Minecraft version. Oh, hello. Let's get back to the big change. If I go to space, it's one of the major changes, you might notice a little bit different colors around. To be short, the world changed. I have upgraded it from just over 200 different types of planets to over 1100 types of planets. So in this case it can now use all types of concrete colors. Beside the fact that the halos, you will now have sideways planets as well. And of course, the sideways planets have halos and 2 different colors. Possibly later in the future more colors will be added, but this is basically how it works. The ones with a special halo, like magma, ice or snow, glowstone or anything like that, will have their planet different colors as well. The core of every planet will stay the same. The difference in every planet is available and there are many options. Some halo planets have a core, some others doesn't. Some normal planets have a core, some doesn't. Some small planets have a core, some bigger ones haven't. You never know. Like this one has a obsidian core, but you have also planets with other cores as well. It's just a matter of searching and finding. This one has a nice core. See? This one with a halo. And that basically concludes what I have found in this world. Just a moment. Somebody's asking my attention. Anyways, I've generated the world on my dim map to make a screenshot image on my Discord server. So if you want to stay up to date on my latest changes, if you want to stay up to date with everything I do within this plugin or the Mindstorm plugin, just join my Discord server. Information on the plugin page as well, and on the websites that come with those plugins. Now for the major change, let me teleport space TP Rocky, which is a great example of a world which has meteorites. Some people were asking what these are. Well, I call them fossils. Oh, I'm already hitting by a meteor. Yes, I have turned my test server on to a higher rate. You can adjust how fast it happens, but as you can see, the meteors are falling. And you can hear the explosions around me. See? When they land, they do destroy terrain and such. You can block that by cancelling the explosion damage, basically. The other explosion damage to be exact. So if you have World Guard, for example, enabled, you can disable explosion damage. That way it will not destroy again with the meteorites landing. Since I'm using the API of the spigot itself, I did not implement other things. As you can see, the mob spawn controller is working again. You can see that he has his own armor. Very well. And this world has mostly the mobs only that can wear these suits, including Endermen. But creepers are something you will not find on this planet. And that makes the difference with the mob controller. So, those things here were fossils, and we also have the obsidian ones, which are basically big meteorites that hit way before people came here. I really like the way this world is. Anyways, the meteor strikes is one of the disaster options. It can be disabled. Oh, I got a hit again. The meteor system works in a step-by-step way. Let me turn it to day. Basically, you can see the meteorites falling now. And there are blocks, and when they come near, their effects will start showing. This is to prevent lag for all the players. If I use packets, the plugin will break every update, beside the fact that it will cause a lot of lag. Every meteor strike will throw around 30 meteorites to the ground, in a radius of 50 around the player that it selects, and that's where the step-by-step selection will go. For all worlds you have enabled the meteorites on, by default there are 2 worlds. It will select one of the 2 worlds every tick rate. So in this case you can select by default 300 seconds. It will select one world every 300 seconds from the world list. And if it is okay with the chance, you also can enter in the configuration. So it's between the chance value. For example, you enter 10 in the config, then it's a 10% chance that it happens. And if it happens, then it will activate it for that world and check if there is a player in that world. If not, it will not do anything. If there is a player in that world or multiple players, it will pick a random player on that world and throws battery to say a meteor strike on their heads. So, for example, I'm walking here with like 3 friends on that mountain over there, and I get randomly chosen. And the meteor strike is activated on this planet, and I will get a meteor shower on my head and they will not. It's localized, not throwing it all over the world. This is to prevent any strange things from occurring. To prevent any damage that can cause. Because over your whole world it causes a lot of lag. Every meteorite needs to be tracked, that when it lands it will not make a mess. Well, I can say you on testing procedures that I was doing. I had one time that it generated such a huge hole that my testing server was crashing. And that's not something I wanted to happen. So I kept working and finally found the issue. It was generating like 10 explosions at the same time, including one with a very, very, very big range. Anyways, there are 2 types of meteors that can go to the planet. A bedrock version and an obsidian version. Both basically gets thrown to the ground. The only difference is what you can see falling as a falling block. So, while one block that falls is looking like obsidian that falls, the other one is bedrock. And when they are close to the ground, they get destroyed. So, you cannot get those. Except for the blocks that explode, of course. It's basically the same like TNT. Now for the other disasters, the first disaster was the suit failure. If you fill your spacesuit with air, so the air system must be enabled for it to work. If you fill your suit with air, so for example clicking this one with a filled air tank, there is a chance, which is already in the configuration file, you can adjust it as you wish, there is a chance that your oxygen tank will explode. If that happens, your suit gets damaged and it will create a small explosion at your location. If you are low on health, it will kill you. If you are high on health, it will damage you certainly pretty big. And basically it keeps you alive if you have full health, but if you have low health you certainly die from the explosion. And otherwise your armor will surely be damaged by this exploding action. Same for the rocket, basically. Once you launch your rocket, it will do the same check. In the configuration file there's a chance that your rocket will explode on launch. Basically there is a chance that your engine here on the bottom will explode by overheating or whatever. And when it actually explodes, it will create a huge explosion, including you in this little space over here. That will kill you if you're unlucky. If you have good armor with blast resistance, there's a chance you will survive. So that's why I have by default the suit and the spaceship chance at 1% from all cases. It's a rare event, but if it happens, well, you're just unlucky. That's basically how it is. That is a lot to take in. The radiation report is also fixed, and what I also fixed, yes, I did that, is the cheat prevention. I've added cheat prevention. Currently, when you were breaking blocks, like, for example, this one, conduit crystals from a gold ore. Iron ore, same thing. Place iron ore, and you can see conduit crystals comes out, or titanite. Well, I'm in creative now, but if you do this in survival and place a block, it will take the block away and will add it to a protective list. This protective list prevents you that if you break this block again after placing it, it will cancel the chance to a drop occurring. So basically it will prevent people from cheating the system by replacing the block over and over again. That way we prevent people from doing those idiotic things, like breaking one iron block in a cave and then replacing it until you get a titanite. That's basically implemented. I think that's it for now. I thank you all for watching, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. And if you have any more questions, don't forget, just join the Discord server and ask away, or PM me on Spigot, or ask it in the discussion area of my plugins themselves. I'm always happy to answer them. Also, suggestions can be made using the Discord server as well. There is a link to the suggestion page. Otherwise, you can always PM me with a suggestion you have. Note, I will not add all suggestions. I got some weird suggestions along the way. For example, adding a gigantic zombie into space with an AI is not something I wanted to do. So, I thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Good luck!